Hi, Jeremy, the tall trainer, and I was at giving a talk to a group of ladies. I guess there was a majority of them were 70 plus, and we did a good chunk about kind of talking about nutrition. And I only had a little bit of time left, and there was just one main point I wanted to make with regards to exercise for them. So I told them there was 3 exercises that I would really like to see most people doing, or at least people doing a variation of these 3. So this is whether you're 20 years old or 10 years old, 5 years old maybe, all the way up to 85, 90. You know, these are some of the exercises that probably Jack LaLanne was doing, you know, at 96, just before his death. That's a great ripe age there. So the 3 exercises, the first one is the field goal squeeze. So you put the arms up here like field goal posts, shrug your shoulders down, pull your stomach in, and you squeeze your arms back. So really squeezing back in there, keeping the abs pulled, and make sure you're not leaning back too much as you're doing that. So we're trying to get those shoulders to open up and squeeze back. We do so much of this forward rolled stuff where our shoulders are rolled forward, chins out. We got drive like that. We work on our computers like that. We watch TV like that. And so we're trying to do something that's the opposite, because that causes a lot of neck pain, a lot of shoulder pain, and a lot of lower back pain. And so we want to try to avoid some of those things by working the opposite. So stretching across here and using some weak muscles in our back to create a stretch in the front here. So we're squeezing down, squeezing back. If you're doing a great job with this, when you relax, it feels like you need a rest. So you're really squeezing as hard as you can there. I usually recommend about 5 to 10 seconds of squeezing and then rest, and doing at least 6 to 8 reps of that. So that's one of the exercises. Another one of the exercises is just a push-up. Now, if you have a countertop, this is actually lower than most countertops. I'll also recommend sometimes the 4th step on the staircase, and just getting your hands set up on there, feet back, kind of up on the toes there, and you're going to lower down and press back out. So something you can do right on the counter, right in there. Now, as you're doing that exercise, making sure shoulders away from the ears, chest out, stomach's pulled in, good posture is done, because I also reminded them that, you know, every exercise has the potential to do some great help to your body. Every exercise also has the potential to do some hurt if it's done in the wrong position, the wrong way. So as you're doing this push away from the counter there, shoulders away from the ear, stomach's in tight, coming in. You don't need to go too far, too close to the counter. You're going about 90-degree bend in the elbows, and then press back out. So right in there. Right in there is enough to keep those arms strong and able to do stuff. So if you are in that 70+ category, falls start to become more and more scary for you. And to prevent falls, having arms that can grab a hold of things and stop yourself is a really good thing. And if you do fall, if you do go all the way down, having arms that can slow you down before you hit your head on the ground and get a concussion, that's really, really helpful too. For the rest of us, you know, maybe doing these, maybe we get onto the floor and do some push-ups that way, and that's going to help us to just be more functional upper body wise. And the other one that I would suggest is the squat here. And so using just this little couch here is, well, I call it the squat, but it really is just sit down, stand up. So you just sit down and you stand up. So for everybody, I'd like to see most people working on some kind of variation on that exercise. So for those in the you know, the 80+, maybe you have a walker, maybe you don't get around very well, you're really scared of falling. Leg strength is very, very important as you work on preventing falls. So maybe you try a chair that's a little bit higher, and you work on a little bit higher, and so it's not quite as hard to get out of, and then you start working your way down into a lower seat. Now I recommend, you know, before somebody worries about maybe trying to lower or trying anything by holding any weights or moving on to the next progression, would be try to get 15 in a row without using your hands for support. So a lot of people, when they get up, they do the push-off thing when they're trying to get up, or maybe they pull on something, is trying to not use the hands as you're doing that, and that will get the legs doing the work they need to do. Because if you have strong legs, you can walk more confidently, you can stand more confidently, you can do everything just a little bit better. The progression beyond that is, once you get pretty good at that, is actually to just settle back there and pretend like you're about to sit, and then come back out and come as low as you can in that pretending to sit, and come back out, and that will help loosen the legs, strengthen the legs. And as you're doing that, again, posture is still going to matter. So a lot of people will have their knees caving in there, and they'll be rounding their back. You've got to keep the chest out. You've got to keep the knees out while you're doing that. Otherwise, you're going to load through the knees, and you're not going to get so much benefits as much as you're going to get your knees hurting or your lower back hurting if you're slumping over quite a bit. So knees out, chest out, and get that going that way. So those are 3 exercises that I would recommend that everybody do at least some kind of variation on that, either the very easiest variation or the very hardest variation. So field goal squeeze, push up on the counter even, sitting down, standing up in a chair. 3 exercises, go to work, have fun, be safe.